Okay, so this design is called a jelly roll, only we're not using a jelly roll, we're using scraps. So if you go to the store and buy a jelly roll pack, it's gonna have pre-cut strips that are 2 or 2.5 inches wide. They usually are in some sort of like color family or similar style. So what I've done is I've just gone through the scraps, picked out a whole bunch of different reds. None of them are the same print, they're all different. They're all in different lengths, but they've all been cut in 2-inch wide strips. So if you're gonna do this process, you can dig through, find a whole bunch of fabrics that you like, and you'll need them cut into the 2-inch wide strips. And you wanna make sure that the ends are cut really straight across and that you don't have any of your selvage edges still on. So if you had a selvage, you'd wanna cut it off. So the kind of fun thing about this project, it is totally random. You're just gonna take any 2 strips. You don't have to do any pre-planning. You're gonna lay them right sides together and you're gonna use a 2, so you're gonna use the edge of your foot to get a 1/4 inch seam. And you'll just stitch across the end, reverse. Okay, and then you'll open that strip up. And then you're ready to grab your next piece. It can be any piece, it does not matter. And then you lay those right sides together. Line it up with the edge of your foot. And do your 1/4 inch seam again. And you'll repeat that over and over again until all your strips have been sewn into one long strip. Once you have sewn all of your strips right sides together with that 1/4 inch seam, you are gonna go to the iron and you're gonna press all your seams open. This is just like seam sample 5 that we did. So you're pressing that seam open and then check to make sure you don't have any thread tails. If you have any thread tails, just trim them off. Just work your way all the way down the fabric strip, cleaning it up, trimming tails, and pressing the seam allowance open. Now with the 14-inch wide square, this is the fusible fleece that has the glue side facing up. So as I touch it, I've got the bumpy glue side up. You're gonna take your strips and you're gonna lay your first piece down, just end to end across the top. Or you could actually start here and do a diagonal design with this, but I'm gonna do mine going across this way. So I'm just gonna lay that there and just trim off the extra. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I take this end that I just trimmed off and I lay it right sides together with the piece that's already laying down. Okay, and I'm gonna pin here, here, and here. The pin heads are on this side, so the batting is all here. The pins are gonna be on this side, and this is gonna be the side that we're gonna sew. Before we go to the sewing machine though, just go in with your scissors again and just trim off that extra little tail. And now we're ready to sew a 1/4 inch seam across here. To sew your 1/4 inch seam, you're gonna turn your machine to a 2, and that centers your needle right in the middle. You're gonna line the right side of your fabric up with the right side of the foot. Make sure you backstitch where you start and where you stop. I'm gonna pull the pin out as I come to it. All right, so we've just sewn a 1/4 inch seam across here all the way. Now you're gonna open this fabric up and lay it down flat like this. You'll finger press it till it's smooth. And then you grab your strip again. You can either start from, here's where I had left off. So I can go right sides together, right here with this end. If I do that, that same fabric is going to be right next to each other here. So you can either do that, or if you don't like that, you just start at the other end of your strip. So there I go, right sides together, and then pin in 3 places again. So it's going to be up to you how you want your pattern or your design to go, whether it bothers you having the same fabric right next to each other or not. So that's totally up to you. So you'll pin, and then you're going to do the same process over and over again until your entire square has been filled with your strips. So at this point, we're ready to do our 1/4 inch seam. Open it up, add the next strip right side together, pin it, sew it, and you just repeat that process. So for this last step, you can either do one of 2 things. You can either flip this over to the batting side, which you'll have to do regardless of which option you choose. You can either take your shears and just go right next to the batting and trim off any excess fabric, or you can use a rotary cutter. In class, we have this safety rotary blade. So you can lay the metal edge up against the batting, and then you press down on the handle to trim off any extra. So it just does it in one nice clean cut like that. And so now we are done with the front. And then we'll need to pick out fabric for the back side. Step, I have cut a piece of fabric that is 14 inches across by 20 inches long, and then I went ahead and with my rotary cutter I measured over from one end 11 inches over, and now I have cut it into 2 pieces. So what you end up needing for your envelope cover on the back is 2 rectangles, one that is 9 inches tall by 14 inches across, and your other piece is going to be 11 inches tall by 14 inches across. And to help you remember which side you need to create your envelope opening on, it's the 14-inch side. So when you go to your iron, you could put a pin in one side along the 14-inch edge just to remind yourself. So we are not doing anything to these 3 sides right now, or these 3 sides right now. We're only doing a double turned hem on the side that has a pin. On the side that you have your pin on the 14-inch side, you're going to measure over 3/4 of an inch, and then with your iron you're going to press that down. So I'm going to press all the way across. I'm sorry, that's 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch. Not 3/4. All right, so we're gonna turn it over 3/8 of an inch and press, and we're pressing to the wrong side or the back side of the fabric. Then I need to turn again. This is a double turn. So I turn again at 3/8, and I'm going to press all the way across. And because you're a beginner, you may want to measure the whole way. You need to make sure it's 3/8 and even all the way across. And then you can take your pins and just put a couple pins in to hold it in place until you're ready to sew it. And then you'll repeat that step on the other piece. So again, along the 14-inch edge, I'm going to fold towards the wrong side over 3/8 and press. And then we'll do that in a double turn. You're going to be doing a top stitch hem across the open edge of your fold that you just pressed in. So it is not going to be along here. Instead, it's going to be 1/8 of an inch from this pinned edge, the side that we want to hold down. Now, I'm not sewing on our school machine, so mine is going to look a little bit different from yours. But the key is that you want to make sure your needle is 1/8 of an inch from that edge and that your stitch is nice and straight. This is a top stitch. So regardless of whatever type of machine you sew on, a top stitch in general is going to be 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So I'm just going to stitch along here. Pull my pin out as I get to it, and I want to make sure to back stitch where I start and where I stop. And I'm going to repeat this on the other one. Now what I'm going to do is chain. So instead of stopping and cutting and starting a whole new line, I'm just going to go ahead and lift up my presser foot and slide my next piece under it and just continue to sew from there. This is a technique often used in quilting, and it saves time and it saves thread because you're not constantly cutting the end of your thread. Okay, when I get to the end here, I'm just going to have to go back in with a pair of scissors and just cut these two loose. So now both of my backing pieces have a double turned hem with a top stitch. So I have my finished front, and I'm going to lay it right side up. Then I'm going to take one of my, this is I think my 14 by 9 inch rectangle, and the double turned hem part is going to lay towards the middle, and it is right sides touching the front cover. Then I'm going to take my other piece and overlap them. So it is also has the double turned hem right here in the middle. And I'm just going to make sure that my fabric lines up on all 4 edges. I'm going to pin all the way around. For this part, you do not have to leave any kind of opening on the edge. Like when we made the pillow form, you had to leave an opening on one side so that you could turn it right side out. That is what this opening is for. So we will actually be sewing on all 4 sides, and then we'll be able to flip it right side out using this envelope opening. So at school, on your machine, you'll leave your machine on a 2, and you'll be using the edge of your foot, the same seam allowance that you've been doing for the rest of this project. I'm going to be demonstrating on a different machine, but it's the same idea. You're sewing straight across on all 4 sides. After you've sewn on all 4 sides, you're going to reach in through the envelope opening and just turn your pillow cover right side out. And then once you have flipped it, you're going to reach in with your sewing shears closed, but you want to poke them into the corners so that you have a pointy corner instead of a flat or dipped in corner. We'll do that on all 4 corners, and then I'm ready to press it, and that is the last step. So turning this in class, you will not put your pillow form in here. Just leave it just like this. You're going to press it really, really well, get it looking nice and professional, and then you'll have a scoring guide that goes with it. So in class, you'll fill out your scoring guide portion that you need to fill out, and then make sure your name and tray number is on it. And then what you'll end up doing is back here where this envelope opening is, you'll just slip your scoring guide right back here in order to turn it in. And that is it.